My name is Matthew Elliott. I'm a mature student at Plymouth College of Art. I'm studying for my BA in photography. I'm on my fourth year now, my last year, and currently working towards, I suppose, what you could say is documentary photojournalistic style to my work. And that's what I'm aiming to do for my future career. My work with the Marines came about after we were looking at the concept of transformation, and I actually attempted to get this off the ground a couple of years ago, but it was extremely difficult getting access to CTC, which is where Marines are trained. And it was only really through persistence that I actually got access in the end, and I was allowed to document several troops in a short space of time. Ideally, at the time, I would have liked to have started from hour one, day one, week one. You know, when the young recruits arrive, and follow them right through to the end of training. But in the timescale I had to do my final piece of work for last year, it just wasn't possible. But I'm happy to say at the minute I'm actually working with one troop. They started May 2013 and they finish January 2014. So that's work ongoing, and it's quite a lot of work. But I think the end product, the final body of work, should be quite extensive. One quote that sort of followed me through my degree, I guess you could say, is Robert Capper's, "If your images aren't good enough, you're not close enough." And I took that literally as a physical thing when I first heard it. And I guess what Capper's saying is if you're not close enough in a physical and an emotional sense, then I think that's what he's trying to get across. It's on an emotional level. I know what recruits are going through. I understand, what's happening. I understand the dynamics of training, and with this just allowed me to work and I suppose in more of a relaxed way. It's I try to remain as objective as possible, while working. I don't like to interfere with anything, but I guess working in this style, it is subjective. You point the camera, you press the shutter, you are choosing what to shoot. But regards to my style of work, I capture in camera. I like to, the less, the more I do, the less I do. I rarely crop. I like to, I don't rarely shoot on a high shutter speed. With regards to, it's single shot, and I like to try and capture in camera, and I think that's really important when you're learning about photography. It's getting it right, first time. When I was planning for my marine work, the intention was really I wanted to follow it through from beginning to end. Really, I'd like to have worked with the careers office, followed the recruits through training, to the unit, and then to active service. And I did actually plan, or put a lot of planning and proposal work into going out to Afghanistan and actually following the troops on the front line. This was really down to time, funding. It's extremely hard to get back in for something like this, and obviously there's a lot of red tape. The only fortunate thing for me is my background, and it's not. This is something I'd like to think about doing in the future. This is where my career path will hopefully take me. But it's just, I suppose I'm really sort of focusing my last few months at college on progressing for this, and it's all about my own professional development and where that takes me. What I'm working on now, the next sort of level to my work is I'm actually, the subject I'm working with, shall I say, is post-traumatic stress disorder, and this came about really through so I suppose you would say research from what I've been reading, and it is becoming quite an issue with obviously a lot of troops serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it's something that I think really people need to be made aware of. I'm not trying to aim at doing more, I suppose what you say, campaign photography, but I'd like to work on a body of work which I'm putting together right now. I'm actually in the early stages of planning that then can show the wider aspects of post-traumatic stress. You know, how it involves family, groups that work to support sufferers, how wives cope, how families deal with I suppose the after effects of conflict. And the only thing I would say is when I've been planning for it, it's just about how I can do this sensitively, and through my photography. And I think the next level for me is to start moving into the more multimedia aspects of work. And you know, this seems more relevant these days. I mean, people with technology changing, people with iPads and smartphones and the access to this sort of work. And I think images have their place and work well in certain situations. But with this work, I think there's a lot more. Well, there's going to be a lot more depth to it. So this work's ongoing, and hopefully this is going to be shown on my year's graduate show, which is June 2014. So that's what I'm working on now.